It's time for Market Explainer, your number one business news podcast. Hosted by Danny and the big man. And it starts right now.
Right. So this next story, this Twitter story is not over, right? I think we're just going to end doing this every week for the next month.
Right.
So after Elon Musk offered $43 billion for an app, by the way, that doesn't make any money, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the Twitter board rejects the offer, and they say we're going to take a poison pill, which is basically a way of saying we don't want your money so bad. We're going to basically crater our business.
It's not that they don't want his money. They would gladly take his money. It's they don't want him. They don't want his ideas, and they don't want the fact. Look, he said it last week after you and I.
Do you know why they don't want him?
Why is that?
Because he's African American.
That is not true. Stop it. Well, he is African American, but that's not why they don't want his money. Look, he said it after you and I recorded last week's about him buying such a big chunk of Twitter. The story then came out that he offered on Twitter, by the way, $43 billion to purchase the company.
Or
he believes
$54.20 a share,
which is
$4.20.
Like at the time, it was something like $20 more than
it was on $10 over, yeah.
Right. So it was more than what the stock price was trading at, right? So it was an abundance. The point though is he believes for Twitter to change as a company, and oh, by the way, Michael Dell did this the last time, right? Michael Dell bought back his company, took it private to make changes that he thought were necessary for Dell to still be around. He saw it turning the drain, and it did work. Absolutely did work, right? And Elon Musk thinks that Twitter and its abilities are being not used properly, and he wants to take it private, make those adjustments, because then you don't have to deal with shareholders, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder. As long as you're doing everything legally, you can run a company however you want to run a company. They don't want that to happen. And oh, by the way, if you look, I don't remember, I need to find it so we can link it down below. I was looking at the amount of stock that Jack Dorsey and these board members actually own. It is next to nothing. Jack Dorsey owns like 2% of Twitter, and everybody else on this on this board owns less than 1%. It's like 0.8 and point this or whatever. So you have a whole people running this company that have such a small amount of this company.
And I didn't realize this, but the new CEO, Parag Agrawal, which he's Indian and I'm Indian, but we're two different kinds of Indian, and so my people don't like his people, and his people don't like my people.
Stop it. There's no people here. We're all people. We're all in it together. All right.
Right. He's worth, apparently, $12 billion. I have a lot of questions. Where did he get $12 billion? And my second question is, why are you the CEO of Twitter if you have $12 billion? My friend, you're doing this wrong. The whole point of coming to this country and getting wealthy and having not just a billion, but 12 of these billions is to go do stupid things with it, right?
But they're getting paid stupid amounts of money to be on this board, right?
They are.
And Elon Musk came out, I think, yesterday. We're recording this on the 20th. I think the story came out yesterday, where he said that if he did purchase Twitter, he would automatically put all of these board members' salary to zero. Yeah, you're getting paid $0.
Yeah, I think he said it's we just saved $3 or $4 million a year right there.
Right, something exactly. Like right, you know what I mean, by just eliminating their not their positions, but their you know what I mean, their salaries, and that can be true in a lot of different companies, nonprofits, for example, where these board members get paid exorbitant fees and it's not going to where it needs to go. But that's a completely different subject. Look, they've got a gravy train. This board of Twitter, these people in Twitter have a gravy train and have had it for years. All of their money goes to them inside, the people inside the circle, and they don't want that to stop, and they're willing to go the old-fashioned 1980s poison pill route to go, which in the short term affects their money, but when you're a billionaire, it doesn't matter the short term.
Correct. Right, because you're not worried about like, oh no, I have to keep up with the mortgage on my house in the Hamptons. Like
Exactly. So
that's
if you take a short term loss, or even just less money, Rich, right? And look, the poison people I've been talking to several people because the poison pill that hasn't actually
right,
been used in a while, okay,
right.
came out in the 1980s, but people don't understand what the poison pill means. Look, I'm not going to get all
What is that?
technical on you.
No, you just
It's
get into it. Yeah.
Well, it's just simple. It's essentially a way for them to create the ability for them to purchase shares at a steep discount without
Right.
giving Elon Musk the ability to. So if I
Okay.
give everybody on the board the ability to purchase shares at a discount, it dilutes his what he may own, let's just say call it 10% right now, by creating more shares and them being owned by the board or any other investor. Now
Right.
his what is today 10% because I'm adding shares of stock to the market
Right.
becomes 8% and then
So
7%
yeah,
and then
it
6%.
it allows them to dilute him without him being able to continue to
And
invest to
it's
maintain his
and that those purchases are made by people that are agreeing not to sell those
right.
shares.
Right.
So he can't go out and just purchase,
Right.
right,
More
those
than
those creation of shares.
right. And it came out later that Vanguard had upped their position, and the the Twitter sphere was like, "Oh, Vanguard is." Well, it turns out that they had bought it, and the filing had become public before,
Right.
and so it had nothing to do with Elon Musk. Which is here's what I found fascinating is here's Vanguard, here's all of these big funds. They all have
Mm-hmm.
money. I have a question for you. How do
Sure.
people have billions of dollars continue to invest in something that never makes any money? What is the point?
But it does. Think about this. Think about, let's say, your Vanguard or
R-
BlackRock, which are two of the biggest companies that own basically the entire world at this
That's
point when you look
correct.
at their stock indexes,
Right.
right? Okay, let's just say, and this is how it goes back to the rich people make money because they have the availability of money. Let's
Right.
just say you're Vanguard. Let's just say
Right.
you have an unlimited checkbook and you get
Basically.
wind saying Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter for $54 a share and it's
Right.
currently rating at $44 a share,
Right.
and you can quietly accumulate as many shares as you want for $44 a share,
Right.
you know Elon Musk is going to buy them. So you can
Right.
literally write a check for as many shares as you want for $44,
Right.
knowing that you are now going to make $10 for every share. You
Right.
literally just wrote yourself a check
Of
for
10x.
$10 a share.
Right.
Does that
That
make
makes
sense?
sense.
That's how they invest in these things. And if it
Right.
works out, great. That's a lot of
Right.
money goes in their bank account. If it doesn't work out, they've just
Yeah.
bought equity in a company that, you know what I mean, they'll hold on to for a little longer.
Right. So here's me, a guy, super capitalist, believe in free markets and all that jazz. And I look at that decision and I go, how did I become a conspiracy theorist? And I go, well, here's a multi-billion dollar corporation, like you said, the two
Hmm.
largest shareholders under Elon Musk basically own the universe. And I go, hey, maybe just throwing this out there, this platform is basically washing money for, the government, a government, several governments. Because, hey, by the way, two or three sovereign wealth funds are also on this list. And
That's also a possibility.
one of these sovereign wealth funds is from a nation that may or may not have dismembered a journalist a few years ago publicly, and oopsie daisy, nobody did anything about it. Like, so you
That's funny.
dismembered a journalist. Life goes on, right?
Well, and look, here's where Elon Musk is smart, and this happens a lot in this kind of
Right,
industry. Elon Musk could obviously, we know his wealth. We know that he could buy Twitter all by himself, right?
right, right.
But by floating this whole, and you said Apollo Group, and it's just the one.
Yep,
If I own an investment fund, I would write an article right now saying that I was interested in this. And here's
right.
why: Apollo Group may not be a part of it. No other,
It's
you
it's
may not be a part of it.
it's Apollo Global Management. They're the same people that bought Yahoo and AOL's and Huffington Post and all that jazz.
But it could be true or it could be an advertising stunt either way, and here's why: because
Great advertising stunt.
by getting more people involved in this and saying, hey, what I'm doing is I'm guaranteing that company money. If Elon Musk takes this private, at some point in the future, he's going to take it public again. And any group, Apollo Group in this case, or any other investment fund that's part of this, that, okay, I'm going to put up half the capital or 10% of the capital, right? Elon Musk is going to put up half of it, and 15 other groups are going to put up the other half, right? Whether leveraging his debt or the Twitter's debt or whatever, taking on debt to accumulate. Those companies are looking at it as a 2 or 3, 4, or 5 year play that when it goes public again, they cash everything. Like it's a long-term CD for them at something like a 3,000% interest rate.
Yeah, it's going to rain money on them, is what I think. Now, here's what I do think that is perhaps the most wild thing is I actually do think this is going to be successful. I don't think it's going to look the way people expect it to look in terms of Elon Musk owning the whole thing. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see a Peter Thiel type fellow, Mark Cuban, who I've gotten into arguments before on Twitter with my now banned account, which is why I'm in support of Elon Musk buying Twitter, because I'm going to finally get it back.
No, he's not unbanning everyone that's been banned. But go ahead.
He'll unban me. I promise. But Mark Cuban said, hey, if you really want to piss people off, get Peter Thiel to join your purchase. And the rumor on the street right now is that he's going to come back with a hard offer. And it's probably going to include a couple of, listen, we saw this with the short squeeze a little over a year ago, where funds decided, like Social Capital, Chamath Palihapitiya, decided, hey, wait, there's a bunch of funds on this side. They're shorting GameStop and AMC. Now, there's enough people on the other side trying to squeeze the short position.
Mm-hmm.
The funds go, hey, wait, we can just compete with these because we strengthen that position, because we bring something as a huge fund. So I do believe that you're going to see one or two large funds. There's already a few venture guys tweeting about that if Elon Musk is unsuccessful at this bid, the system is rigged. Hey, guys, you run a hedge fund. You're the kings of rigged systems. Okay?
That is true. I as of today, and we started putting dates on these episodes. As of today, I don't think he'll be successful. I don't think with this poison pill, I think they have dug in the trenches at this point, that they are not willing, barring something changing, they are not willing to allow him to take this company private. Again, they don't want to. It's a gravy train for them. They have to make minimal effort or changes to Twitter for it to function the way it does.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So they don't want off this gravy train. They're going to do everything in their power to stop him. And Elon Musk doesn't have the alternative of creating Twitter 2.0. He doesn't have that ability. We have now seen with all these different apps over and over again that no one will replace Twitter, at least right now.
Right. So, I do think that he has pointed out a couple of key issues that need to be,
of course,
fixed. And he did also point out, which, hey, guess what? He wasn't pointing it out because the board of Twitter didn't know. He's pointing it out so all of us will turn around and repeat it. He pointed out that, if Twitter doesn't take an offer, Twitter's board has a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders.
Right.
To maximize profits.
Right.
So when anti-capitalists talk about capitalism is about maximizing profits. Now, that's not what a free market capitalist system actually is.
No.
This is a law that was created to basically help extremely wealthy people have a legal out to say, I have to screw people over because they're evil and they want to do it. But
there's also some accountability that comes with that, right? If Elon Musk gets enough people, and that's why he's playing this on Twitter, right, out in the public, because he wants the court of public opinion, as they say, on his side. If you out there and you own shares of Twitter and you want to cash out for more money than it's worth, and he gets enough of those on board, the board can't stop him, right? So if he wins the court of public opinion in shareholders, in shareholders, then they can do that. Now, look, this whole poison pill thing, it hasn't been enacted yet. They're threatening. It can't be enacted until someone, whether Elon Musk or a fund or anybody else, gets to 15% ownership. That's the magic number. So they can't do anything until then. They're just telling you flat out that if anybody gets to 15%, we're already set up, guys. I got a document right here. All I got to do is sign it, and we're going down this road.
And what they've decided is we're just going to burn ourselves at the stake and let the city watch us burn, because rather than be successful. So I think that there's enough of a threat of this going to court, and nobody wants any of their documents. This is like our good friend of the show, Matt Cox, saying, yes, I was doing mortgage fraud, but everyone else was doing mortgage fraud. So when they caught me doing mortgage fraud, the mortgage company was like, let's help you do mortgage fraud to someone else, because we don't want anyone looking at our books.
Right. So because they created a gravy train. Now, again, that's my opinion, right? They don't want anybody in their business.
But listen, it's also my opinion, and it's also like, hey, these people figured out that this is a pseudo-political platform today, as of right now. Mm-hmm. This isn't a platform where we used to go tweet about sports, whatever. This has become political. It's wholly political now. And what's interesting about that is these people are just like senators. If you look at most of these people who run and win for the U.S. Senate, they go into it like $600,000 in debt. And after 2 terms, they're like, yeah, I have $12 million. Hey, buddy, there's plenty of people who make $200,000 a year. Where'd you get $12 million?
Well, and that's why, look, and I kind of said it last week, in that's why Elon Musk and several other people continue to call Twitter the current public square. Correct. Public forum. Because what they're trying to do is giving it this legal precedence of openness, right? That if this is now how we all as Americans communicate, then there should be some rules around this that allow anyone, no matter what they say and all that kind of stuff, by going public square, right?
Yeah. And which is stupid. It's a bad decision on everybody's part, because I always like to point out, AT&T, and the government broke up AT&T, and all they did was they cut the head of Hydra. They cut off one head and two more appeared. Right. So the best thing for Twitter, the best thing for people, okay, is that Twitter crashes and burns. And then, a bunch of sovereign wealth funds that dismember journalists and billionaires that own the entire world, that have $1 trillion of assets under management, they lose $8. Who cares?
But look, here's again the power, right? And I don't think Twitter, obviously, as you said, didn't understand this in the beginning or thought that it would become that. But if in 2022, if you are Joe Bob, senator, Republican, whatever, for major federal office, right? Running against either someone that has never run before, not somebody that's been there for 10, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. If you're not a career politician, and but especially if your niche, if your people are fringe people, a very niche people, right? One way or the other, right or left.
Taylor Green's a great
example. You would not get elected without Twitter. You would not, because that's your direct line to any group of people. Right. You could not get elected without Twitter.
See, now that you say that, we'll come to the close of the segment, but it begs the question. Now, is it moral or correct that there's been a certain group of people who I don't vote for, so I don't care, but I'm just saying, who have been unfairly targeted by Twitter and the pink-haired undercut, the people
that is Danny's opinion that I do not share. I don't think anybody's been unfairly treated in a lot of these things.
Factually backed up by statistics, by the way, that, hey, if you're a sitting congresswoman, can Twitter, should it be okay that Twitter just says, you're not on the platform? There was a gal who ran for Congress.
Twitter is a business that pays taxes, and they're allowed to allow or not allow anybody on their network. Period. End of story. There is no exception.
I totally agree. And the meme that's been going around is somebody saying Twitter's a private company, can do what it wants. Elon Musk goes, yes. And then the third part of the frame is them going, great, because he can just buy it. So
right, then he should be able to just buy it, right? And
right,
look, and I get that. But if the
right,
United States government or any other entity wants to have their own version of Twitter with the rules that they can allow anybody to say anything,
right,
Truth Social that's dead, okay, then they can. But
right.
they're not, right? Twitter's not owned by the United
But
States
before
government.
Truth Social died, they went public via SPAC and put a couple $1 billion in that guy's pocket. I'm sure. Anyways, let's jump into this next thing. But before we do that, I want to let you know about Big Man Gear. Big Man Gear is the Big Man's merch brand. You go to bigmangear.com, print and shipped by Amazon, making all of your purchases super easy.